fabulous job, Newcastle. They're a rowdy crowd, James. You're going to love them. Grab your mic for you here. So just a couple questions from me. How have you been enjoying Comic-Con Northeast, everybody? How has it been meeting the fans here in Newcastle? Let's start with you, James.
Love it. The coffee is strong, the bed is soft, and the curry is good. Yeah. Yeah, I love it. And the people are wonderful, man. Yes. Yeah, very cool.
Everybody's been lovely. It's just been so much fun, and my husband and I are here. We got to go see Whitby as well, and so it's been fabulous.
Oh, thanks. You guys, it's a stunning city. The Riverwalk, the bridges, the people. You guys are amazing. So thank you for your hospitality. It's been a wonderful time for my stepmom and me, and my agent, Zach and Landon. We're having a great time. Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, obviously, we have a lot of Buffy cosplayers. What does it mean to you when someone comes up as your character? Because not only do we have a puppet version of Spike here, but I've seen many a Spike cosplay, and I'm sure you ladies have seen cosplay from Buffy as well. What's that like when a fan puts so much effort and passion into their attire?
I love it. I love, fan fiction, cosplay. Like, anytime that people create something based on something that we help create, it's fabulous. Yeah. Yeah, just lives on. Yeah.
Even in puppet form, as we see here.
Totally.
Charisma, what's it like when someone's dressed up as your character?
It blows me away. I mean, first of all, this show is, I don't even want to remember how old it is. It's quite old. It's a few decades old. And just that you guys even show up, that you're so invested, that you get energized, and you put this time and effort into your appearance. I think it's time that we start doing the same for you. I did it at 90s Con. I wore cosplay. What?
What is that? What is your cosplay, sir? That with the cage on the head?
Wow.
Freaking. No, it's not a Buffy thing. Is it a Harry Potter thing? Why don't I know that? It should be a video game. I'm sorry, I'm a video gamer. Okay, totally awesome, but I digress.
Just discussing cosplay. Juliet, what do you think of all the cosplay at the Comic-Cons?
I mean, it's fantastic, and all the detail. Drusilla's costumes were Victorian in nature, and just the detail and that people put into it is just beautiful. I think I see a Miss Edith right there. Hi, Miss Edith. So, I mean, it's just fabulous. I love it so much. You guys did a fantastic job. Everybody I've seen here has just done it like so beautifully.
Well, as much as we love Buffy, and we're going to discuss that more, and again, get your questions ready, guys. You guys have a lot of personal projects you've been working on, and Juliet deserves a round of applause as she's directed a film, and we'd love to chat about that. And it also benefits charities, Peace Over Violence. So can you explain your film? We'd love to hear more.
Yes, it's called A Place Among the Dead. It will be coming out this year. We're just wrapping up our festival circuit, and we've been sweeping all of the awards. I'm not allowed to announce how many yet, but it's been amazing. The movie is a genre-bending art film which explores the repercussions of growing up under the sway of narcissism and psychological abuse. And we have an incredible cast. We've got Gary Oldman, Ron Perlman, Robert Patrick, Lance Henriksen, Anne Rice, best-selling author Anne Rice, appearing for the only time she ever did acting in a movie before she passed away. And we've just been having the most profound conversations with audience as we've been on this journey. So I'm excited to share the movie with all of you guys too later on this year.
That's wonderful. Another round of applause, yes. Very cool to go behind the scenes there. And Charisma, you created a fan community in mycon.live. Can you tell us more about that?
MyCon.live was, the origin of it was during the pandemic, when everything was shutting down. Fans couldn't attend cons where there was community. People just in general were sending DMs via Instagram in distress, feeling isolated, feeling concerned. How long is it gonna last? I can't even go to my barista and work in my local coffee shop. I'm depressed, I'm anxious. And I decided in March, I think it was in March of 2020, I said, if you need words of encouragement, or you want a video, just DM me and I'll send you a free video. And then became inundated with video requests. And I figured it wasn't tenable to continue to send those videos out through Instagram. So I had a friend create a site, and it was just sort of born out of that. And then once all of those requests were honored, I decided to just start this and do it full time and do meet and greets and do shout outs and sell photos. And then eventually, with more time, I'm going to bring on other talent and, make it a virtual community so that whether our world shuts down or you can't leave, or, a lot of people are immune compromised still and don't feel safe, you can join the Buffy or the sci-fi community virtually. That's mycon.life.
Very cool. Yes. Giving back to the fans and making them feel seen. That's fabulous. Well, James, we know in your personal life, you are a rock star. With Ghost of the Robot, yes, playing I think it's July 24th in LA, big show. You also have a new TV show, but tell us about what you've been working on outside of Comic-Con.
Yeah, Ghost of the Robot is putting out a new album, Tin Man. It'll be out this summer, and we're playing the Mint. And it's our best album yet. It's vocally, seriously, the best album. Like, we went in and just slammed out the album as a band, all together. We want to do it fast and furious and not be careful about it. And we're so impressed with ourselves. It's really good. And then, on Amazon Prime, there's a new show that I'm in called Casa Grande, which is an update of Upstairs, Downstairs, which is like, it's an old show, but it basically, for those of you who are too young to know, it's about Upstairs, Downstairs was about an English manor, the rich people who live there, and the servants who did all the work, basically. And both sides are human beings, but they don't understand each other because there's this class divide. There's a gulf between them. And this updates it to California in the Napa Valley, the wine growing region. And so all the rich people are like wine growers and ranchers, and the servants are the Latinos that work the land. And I play a douchebag. Lovable douchebag, ruthless, like I'm trying to steal someone's land and they're probably going to commit suicide if they lose their land, and I just don't care. Love it. So fun. But it's not genre, so it's just like modern day, but it's really good. And then another show for Apple Plus and animated, where I play a skull. And I'm having the time of my life. And I can't say anything. That's probably actually saying too much. I'm going to get in trouble now.
Oh, it's just between us. Don't worry.
Oh, yeah.
Just a few of us here.
No one's going to
Lovable douchebag. I love that he had to clarify, but he's a lovable douchebag. Don't worry about it. We love to hate you, and I mean that in the sweetest way. Well, let's go to the fans, you guys. I could chat with them all day and fangirl, but we'd love to hear from you. Yeah. James has the microphone over here. Give it up for James, everybody. And we've got a question here in the front row. I'm going to give you guys my microphone, if that's okay.
Afternoon, folks. James, you said before, previously, that Spike is more than just your portrayal of him. Is Steve Tartella as well, the writers, the costume.
Yeah.
So with these really big characters, I was just wondering, question for you all, did you ever take the chance to go off script and add something to your characters, if not in Buffy, in any production, whether on stage or on screen?
Yeah, did we write any of the dialogue, basically, or did we give ideas for the story? Like, I did give ideas for the story, and the producers would be like, "That's really interesting, James. That's great." And then there's me. So, especially on Buffy, we didn't write a word. The dialogue coming from the writers didn't need any help. But I'd like to say that the writers control what I do, but how the audience reacts to what I do, that's my job. And you could write the character like they were trying to make the audience hate me for like a long time. I was like, I don't want that to happen, so sorry. Like, a good actor can read, we don't even read, okay. Old people will get this. There used to be a thing called the telephone book. We don't have it anymore. Okay, it was a book with telephone numbers. It was the most boring book in the world. A good actor could read that and make it funny or heartbreaking, and I'm not even kidding. So an actor has a lot of power, but it's not over what we say. Yeah. Oh.
I think she was just asking you.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Good. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Question for James. Between the episode Hush and Once More with Feeling, which one was your favorite to film and why?
God, I can't say favorite. You know, they're both so good, though. I mean, Hush was. we all thought that Hush was going to be easy because we didn't have any lines. We're like, oh, thank God, I don't have to memorize lines this week. But then getting into filming it was all of the information that's usually conveyed by dialogue had to be conveyed non-verbally by little looks, and so it was actually really hard to film. Like, no, you got to look over here, and then you got to get sad, and then you got to look over here, and then get happy, and then you got to get confused and like shake it off, and like very specific. But I think that the musical was maybe my favorite episode because the thing is that we were terrified when we were doing the musical. We really thought that the show was being ruined by a bad idea. Like, most of the cast were not comfortable singing in public. You know, they had a really good point. They were saying, you hired me to be a comedic / dramatic actor, not a singer, and now you're going to make me do something that I'm not good at in front of millions of people, and you're going to ruin my career. I think Sarah asked to juggle chainsaws rather than have to. She said that would be safer for my career. Tony Head and I, we were comfortable singing in public because he was doing albums. I have a band, and I just thought the song sucked. I was wrong, but I have a good excuse. Like Joss gave us a cassette of him singing the songs. He was just like plunking out on a piano on this cassette tape, singing the songs. And Joss can't sing, okay? Sorry. Horrible singer. So it sounded cheesy. So we all thought it was gonna be the end of the show, and we all tried to get out of it, and there's a lot of whining and gnashing of teeth. And finally, it was apparent that we weren't gonna get out of it, and we stopped whining, and we got to work. And even though we were sure that all of our careers were over and the show was going down in flames, we were all sure of it, we decided to go out swinging and not give up. And I think that the theme of the show is don't give up. The theme is like life hurts, it's challenging, but it's worth it, so keep going. And so the reason that it's my favorite, and I'll end here, long answer, is that for 1 week, we spoiled Hollywood actors actually lived up to the theme. And we didn't give up.
I just want to point out the amazing Drew cosplay right here.
Right?
It's gorgeous, once you were asking about that a few minutes ago. So perfect.
Guys, I've got a question about costumes. How much creative input did each of you have, if any, into your costumes? Because all of them are so iconic. You can look at something and say, oh, that's a Cordelia, or you can look at something and say, that's like Drew.
Well, Cynthia Bergstrom, who was the costume designer, was absolutely brilliant. There was a vision for everybody's look and everything. There were things that you could contribute, like in the episode Surprise for my character, I had a maroon kind of long dress, and I asked if I could have a scarf and if we could pin it in the front so that way I could move and use it for like that whole party sequence and stuff. So there were things like that where you'd go like, or maybe a sleeve, like so that I could, work with the physicality of the character and build upon what was already there because I thought that would be it just felt very Drusilla for her coming out party of being strong, that would be useful, and I didn't want it to fall off, so I thought if it was attached at the front, it would give me the way to work. So there were things like that that were really collaborative and fun, but really, Cynthia was just so brilliant at what she did.
I think for Cordelia, there wasn't a lot of need, like she said. Cynthia was amazing. I think there were just personal things where I wasn't comfortable with white pants. Like, I will never wear white pants ever in my life. Or a fabric that didn't feel good on my skin. I'm a bit sensitive to that stuff. But other than that, in terms of there was never a moment where I said Cordelia would never wear that. On Angel, however, when I crossed over, I had a lot more say with Jessica Pasternak, who was the original wardrobe mistress on the costume designer on Angel, and she and I had a very collaborative relationship, and I appreciate that, you know, because sometimes for me, putting on the shoes, like it's got to be it just is the final touch where I really feel I step into the character when I step into those shoes. Something about it just informs the character. It's the pitch. I don't know how to explain it, but it's visceral. It just happens. So costumes are really a big
Critical.
Deal. Yeah.
I always feel like wardrobe, when you get a role, one of the first things you do is go to wardrobe and just putting all those pieces together, you know, and it depends what you're doing. When I was doing it, Ed Wood, literally the bullet bra, I was like, I've got the character. Like it's a piece of the wardrobe that just gives you the time period or whatever it is, you know.
I had one costume for 7 years, so I couldn't even get new shoes. There was like I had one pair of boots, and I did fights, and they were like falling apart.
Didn't you have multiple copies though? I had like
They
20
said
of
they
those
couldn't find any.
corsets.
No, there was one pair, and like no, there were two pair because Steve had one. But like mine were like the soles were coming off, and
That
and
makes
like
no sense.
like
That's
and
terrible.
we're doing like fights where you're like flipping around, and the soles like you know. I was like, this is gonna kill me, man.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you didn't have press-on nails coming off
No.
during fights. I had that.
I went to Cindy once, and I was like, what is this, Gilligan's Island? Like, I just can't get a new look. She's like, no, it just works, baby. It works.
I feel like for you, your hair was very Spike, right? Wasn't that kind of like if you didn't have the costume itself, it was maybe the hair.
You had
it's
the
so
torturous hair
collaborative. You have the
bleach.
wardrobe, you have the hair, you have the makeup.
Yeah, but I mean, it was. I relaxed into it because, like, everybody else, when you have costume changes, you're always like, how do we get the jacket off? You had the jacket off in the last scene, and now we got to figure out how to take it off in this scene, and there's so much complication. I'm like, black T-shirt, black jeans, baby, I'm ready.
I mean, he's still in costume.
Yeah, right. Seriously.
Do you sleep in that too?
No, I've just been wearing black since I was 19 years old.
This is very
Yeah.
Steve Jobs of you. It makes it very easy.
No, I was a
I
theater
think of
actor.
you when I pack.
It's the cheapest way to look cool. So a lot of artists, because we're poor, you just wear black. You look cool. It's good.
Hi, I've got a question for all three of you. They did the Hush episode, which was an award-winning episode. Now, the body is not very talked about very often, but it should have been an award-winning episode, I'm afraid to say. But how did you feel that you weren't actually in it, James? Very much at all, I don't think. Because you actually like Joyce a lot, and like you love Joyce, and you always made a point for her, and yet it felt like your character didn't get to say the final goodbye for Christine Sutherland, who played Joyce, and I found that a bit hurtful for Spike personally. I'm sorry, I know that sounds a bit weird, but it is a question I've always wanted to ask. My other one was for you, Charisma, because although you and Buffy hated each other, you kind of liked Joyce as well, and I would have thought they'd have been asked to do a crossover just to come into the episode, like for even the funeral, for instance. And my last question would be to Juliet, which would be, why did you leave Spike for that demon? I mean, come on. Did you see the slime?
No,
Better looking,
I just have to say something
awful.
about that. Spike was already all gone on Buffy, right? I mean, he was gone off, he wasn't yet, but I could see the future, and I did know that he was going to leave me for a cheerleader after 200 years. So what's a bit of slime, really?
Sorry. I didn't take offense about not being in the body at all. I didn't think Spike should be within 100 miles of that episode. The reason that it's one of my favorite episodes is because I think that it proved that the show was strong enough, dramatically speaking, that you didn't need vampires. You didn't need fights. You didn't need special effects. You didn't need music. You could just have a young woman lose her mother as a drama, and it works perfectly. The producers came up and said, we're sorry. They were apologizing to me. I was like, I don't belong in this episode. And besides, I get the week off, man. Shit. Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure what your question was for me.
Did you want to be in that episode?
Did I want to be in the body or do crossovers? I can't hear you.
Yeah. Did you feel bad about not being included in the body?
So, here's the thing. It is weird that I didn't have any crossovers. We sort of did telephone crossovers, which was odd. But in terms of the body, with Christine's character, Joyce, I think we had some rivalry over Xander. So I'm like, oh, she's dead. Oh, bummer. No, I have no idea. I was so mired in the work on Angel once I left Buffy. My days got increasingly longer and bigger, and it was survival. Like, I didn't even see family. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was so focused on what was in front of me that I wasn't really tuned into what was happening on Buffy, and I didn't even know that Joyce died, and frankly, until I was at a con with her and someone asked about the body, and I still haven't seen it, but I hear it's amazing. I've seen clips and stuff. I need to do a watch. I really do. I do need to do a watch, and I will, now that I have more time. But thank you for thinking of me, and in that regard, cheers to that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a coffee real quick. Hold on.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Charisma.
There we go. Oh. Nice.
Hi. I just want to say we all absolutely love the show, and just a big thank you for Charisma for speaking out against certain people that we love the show in spite of. We love it for you guys rather than people who shouldn't. I'm not even going to name. It's a really brave thing to speak up against.
Well, thank you. And it is. It was very scary. Very scary. But I do want to say this. The show was built by so many people. There were 200 people involved on a daily basis making that show. And these actors that I share this stage with are probably one of the best of the best, right? So I just wanted to kind of give you all permission to be okay with loving the show still, because it's bigger than just one person. So thank you for acknowledging the very hard thing that was. I appreciate that, but please keep loving it. You know, I wouldn't be here if I didn't love it. It was a huge part of my life, and there were things about it that I will never, ever forget. And I'm eternally grateful for. And your devotion to the show is still to this day, like, that we're packed right now. Like, it just blows my mind. So thank you. Truly.
My question's for all of you, but mainly for James. What was it like working with Christian Kane? And I know James worked with him on Leverage Redemption.
Yeah, Christian is a maniac. But he's the most loving guy you'll ever meet. He has more energy than I know what to do with. And he's really good at golf, which does not make sense. Like that, if you meet Christian, the last thing you expect is he would be a golfer. I was like, really? He's like, yeah, it's wonderful, man. Yeah, so he tried to teach me golf and failed. Like, I thought my acting was pretty good on that, but I have friends who play golf, and they were like, you were terrible. Horrible. But yeah, I love Christian. We had a great time. Yeah.
He's a very passionate actor. And he works incessantly, so great guy.
Hello guys. I'm very glad to see you all here. Buffy broke my heart in so many ways, so many times while I was watching, and Angel too. The story of Cordelia was just like one of the saddest and most beautiful things on Angel. And I wanted to ask, what things make you emotional and what things make you cry, either in real life or on when you're watching something? Maybe recently watched something that made you cry.
Meerkat Manor makes me cry. I mean, I'm a sensitive person. I cry all the time, and I'm touched at moments like this. You know, it's very real for me. It's very touching. It's my life, and to know that I am relevant at this juncture, you know, 25 something years later, that you guys care and you share with me the stories that were important to you while watching the show, the relationships that you developed as a result of watching the show, the love connections between you. I lost my mom recently. That definitely made me cry. It makes me cry right now. I won't cry, but I'm touched. I understand when people say I didn't at first understand when people said, your character made me, you know, I loved your character, she made me stronger, or whatever. And I'm like, I don't understand in what way did this mean girl give, and it was just something about the confidence, just the way that you explain it to me and how touched you are by the character, by the shows. You know, the last thing I'll say about that and give it to the floor to them is when I learn about, especially now that my mom is gone, when people grew up watching the show with their parents when they didn't have a connection with their parents, but it was like the one thing that they could do together, and then they have that still, like if their parents have moved on, that they can revisit it's a comfort show where they can revisit the show when they're sad or when they want to be and feel connected to that parent or that loved one. That touches me deeply.
Thank you so much.
I always get. I love crying, by the way. I do it for a living. But like, anytime when there's like a really dark situation in a movie or a book, and then there's hope, you know, that's what gets me. The little bit of light. Like one of my favorite lines in theater is a play called Camino Real by Tennessee Williams. And there's a line in it that says, "The violets in the mountains have broken the rocks." And when that happens in a movie, you know what I mean? Just like a little shoot of life or hope comes in to a really bad situation. I'm all over the floor.
I'm the same. I'm sensitive, so I'm a crier at the drop of a hat. But definitely meeting people, and if you've had an impact, and just learning people's stories and what you all share when we get to talk and hang out, it's really moving and touching. I think, I don't know, but I would suspect they could speak for themselves, but I think I became a creative person because for me growing up, it was, you know, not a healthy environment, a toxic environment, and I feel like I saw things about the human condition that made me understand my own life and the things I was going through. And so for me, with entertainment, I think that it's when there's human elements, when there's stuff that I can relate to, and I can get involved in those kinds of stories, and it teaches me something about my own journey and about all of us, like how we're all the same and we're all doing the best we can. You know, I think that's when I get moved.
I do want to add one thing, and that is on Mother's Day, I have a son, he's 20, and he's on his own now. And on Mother's Day, my nieces and nephew wanted to take me for coffee. And so we go for coffee, and they got me gifts. And I was a little bit sad that I didn't get to share it with my son. And I made a comment to my nieces and nephews, like, yeah, I'm probably not going to hear from him today. And, you know, because now that he's 20, he doesn't have a grown-up to remind, hey, call your mom, it's Mother's Day. And my phone rang, and I like literally started to cry. Like he called, he remembered, Mom, I just wanted to say, how's your day? And I'm like, he remembered, like I'm such a sap when it comes to my kids.
It's this question that I have, which is, are my kids gonna call me because they don't really need me anymore?
Right.
They're all launched and everything.
I want them to like me.
Exactly. Like, do we actually have a relationship? Are we friends?
Are
I
we-
guess is
yes.
at the end of the day.
Yes.
And you kind of hold your breath, hoping. Yeah.
I mean, that's my kid will, he will also anger me on it too, like nobody else as well. But just the love of my son is just like,
Well, we were together recently, and he texted you a really sweet message, and you were like, "Oh, it's so cute."
yeah, he kills me.
Hi, my question's for James. In the episode on Angel Smile Time, when the fight with Spike and the puppet of Angel happens, what was actually happening behind the scenes for that scene to actually be made?
That was one of the most humiliating days of my life. Yeah. Because, like, the gag is that Puppet Angel, does he sock me or does he kick me or whatever the thing is, but the puppet whacks me and I go flying like 18 feet up in the air and bam, down on the ground. And so to do that, it wasn't me. It was Steve. It was Steve Tartaglia. Who was a maniac, and he came from Hong Kong, and he was willing to do stunts that American stunt people were just not willing to do. And so to do it, they just put a wire on Steve and yanked him up 18 feet and dead dropped him onto concrete. Right? And the thing is like the stunt person does the gag, and they have to lay still in whatever position they ended up in, and the actor goes in there and they match exactly the body position. So I'm running over there, are you alive, Steve? And Steve is like twitching and laughing. He's like, like, and we do the deal, and I roll into his position, and he makes sure that it's all correct and everything. And then as Steve is like limping off, they go, James, would you like a pillow while we wait and do the thing? I'm doing nothing. I'm doing nothing. Oh God. So yeah, that was mostly Steve Tartaglia that made that scene really cool. Yeah. Yeah, he was fine. I've seen that guy do insane things. Yeah, insane things. But yeah, during that, I remember beating myself up with the puppet because like because of the camera angle, they couldn't get the puppeteer out of the shot, and it was taking too much time. And I was like, give me the sticks, man. Give me the stick. Boom, boom, boom. We got the shot. So, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Hello there. It's just a question about other series that you went into. Regarding Supernatural, Charisma and James played Mr. and Mrs. Stark. Yeah. What was it like working alongside Jensen and Jared and all the cast of Supernatural?
Oh, my God. They are so cool. Don't you think?
Oh, yes, I was just...
Oh, no, I was just
trying to understand the way you're
sleepy. What?
We're being
What?
creative.
I'm a normal person.
What?
No, you do first. You want to
No,
talk?
no, go ahead.
Okay. So I think that fame is toxic to the human soul. Like, the longer that you are exposed to it, it's like radiation, the worse it can be. And Jared and Jensen are just immune. They don't care about that at all. They're so nice to their fans. They're like, when we were filming, there'd be fans like on the other side of the street. They would cross the street and go talk to them. And it was the happiest set that I've ever been on. I've been on equally happy sets, but I've never been on any set that was happier than that. They were fabulous. I was told that they would prank me if they liked me. And I only had one scene with them. But we'd already been hanging out, so I was like, I'm going to get pranked. So I'm doing my close-up, and it's in my office. And like in television, the director is in a different room watching a monitor, and so he can see what the shot is. So he's not even in the same room that we are in. And I'm doing my close-up, and I don't know if it was Jared or Jensen, but one of them took their shoe off because like I feel a little bobbling up in between my thighs, so to speak. And like Jared or Jensen is just like, got his shoe off, and he's just like looking at me because it's over their shoulder, so you can't see their face. It's just my face, and they're just like, "What are you gonna do, Bo? What are you gonna do?" Like that. And so I finished the take, and and after the take, the director goes, "Cut, print, move on," which means that's the shot that's in the show. And then at that point, both of them just go, "Dude!" It was fun. Yeah.
I didn't get pranked. I didn't. Oh, I guess I wasn't like, no. They were really lovely. I do remember going to set, and there was, do you remember this? It was like a little kiddie pool, and it was full of rubber ducks. Oh, yes. What's the rubber duck thing? I don't get it. I don't know, but there were a lot of ducks. And I'm just like, what's going on? I don't know. They were genuinely lovely, and they were really wonderful to us as guest stars. Jared is particularly, I didn't spend that much time. I don't really remember spending that much time with both of them, but they were really, really lovely. And right now on Walker, one of my best girlfriends is their makeup artist. Just can't say nice enough things about them. They're very deserving of their success, of the fandom. I have nothing, I mean, honestly, they just are lovely. The Lion Game, or not the Lion Game, but when I was on Veronica Mars, I could say the same thing. Those kids were well adjusted. Like, they had their SHIT so together. I was not that together in my 20s on a hit show. It's just really I have so much hope for the up-and-comers.
Hello? Oh, hi. So this
I
is
love like guessing because like the voice comes from the same place for us. Where are you?
here. Hi.
Hi. Okay.
So this is a question for everyone. Is there any props or mementos in the show that you are going to take no matter what?
I have them all. Every single script, the director's chair, dresses, trophy, burnt diploma, you name it, I got it. Saved everything. I could have a museum.
I have the scripts, and I have a pair of teeth. I have a really great bra that Cynthia got me. And I have a pair of earrings from when we did the Italian, like the ciao, 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 like the round earrings. I actually used those in a play. They had to hold up for 6 months in a play, a run of a play, and they did. And the last night they broke. I was like, oh my God, at least it made it through. But yeah, I think that's about it.
I took nothing.
Yes, you did. You have
No, I don't have the duster.
the leather coat.
No, I don't have the leather coat.
You told me you had the leather
No,
coat.
you dreamt that.
I did
You
not.
dreamt that. You
no, because we had a
hallucinated
whole bit on stage talking
No,
about.
this is the bit. I'm going to do the bit, and then you can see that I'm right and that you're wrong. So, yeah.
Be
So-
right. I don't care. I don't need
Okay,
to
so
win.
They told me that I could, the costume department said that if you steal the coat, we will not tell on you. This is at the final episode. And I was like,
Oh,
I don't.
yes.
And I was like, I don't steal costumes. I used to produce theater, and I hate actors who steal things.
I was given it. I have a lot of wardrobe too. No,
Okay,
I'm
so
with you.
yeah,
I'm with you. You're right.
so I didn't take it, and because I thought like, what am I going to do with that anyway? Like, am I going to like wear it to parties and people think like, guy thinks he's still Spike? What's up with Jesus? Or like, wear it at night, like see if I still got it, like, you know, like you know, like a mannequin at home, like. Invite people in, and would you like to touch the coat?
Would you like to touch
please?
the leather coat? Okay, now
Like,
I remember the bit. You're right.
I
He's
can't
right.
be the guy with the coat. So I found out. I said no, and then 3 days later, I found out the 20th Century Fox sold it for $250,000 to a collector, and I was like, "That's what you do with a coat." I'm a father. I got 2 kids going to college. And
David
I was
has his.
an idiot.
Yeah, he
Yeah, you
does.
should sell it. You get a lot of money for
He
it.
doesn't.
doesn't
The only
need it.
reason I have the teeth is because Todd, the makeup artist, gave it to me because I wanted to work with them because you can get really lispy with them in, and I didn't think it was very, menacing to be like, lisping when you're doing all that stuff. So I took them home to work on, and it was kind of funny because I had them in, and we live in the Hollywood Hills, and we like to take out the trash every night so that you don't get animals in the house or whatever. And I had them in, and I thought, it's like 2 a.m, nobody's going to be out. I might as well just keep them in, run down, pop in and out. And I went out and I was holding this big bag of trash, and this neighbor from across the street, she's like, "Oh, hi, I'm new." And I was standing there and I literally was like, I don't know what to do. I'm going to freak her out if I like say hello, and open my teeth. And it was before the show was airing, before we were on it. It was airing, but before James and I were coming on. So I couldn't even be like, she'd be like, "Oh yeah, cool. I know you play a vampire, And so I literally was like, I dropped the trash and I just went, "Hiya." It's really nice. And I think she thought I was really, really strange. And I ran back up the house, and then later I explained. She said, "Oh I'm so happy." I would have screamed. I really would have screamed at the top of my lungs.
2 in the morning.
Yeah, 2 in the
right?
morning with bangs, right?
You know what was really hilarious, though, and kind of like sad? Like, our teeth were hard enough to talk in. Very hard. But the guest stars, like the vampires who got like 3 lines in the staked or 1 episode.
They were really rough.
We had these special
They were
teeth that were
made
just
for
for
us.
our mouths,
Yeah.
right? So they fit and they were easier to deal with.
Yeah.
They got these mammoth, generic, and so like, poor guest stars. You're on for 1 day. It's like, "Oh, I'm going to be on Buffy. I'm really nervous." And you get in there and they put these big teeth in, like, "Oh, hi Buffy. I'm going to kill you." And you could just see them dying every week at the same thing. And we kept telling them, like, you're gonna be able to voice over you'll go back and dub that later. But horrible.
But it is like a badge of honor when you meet other people that have played vampires, like Kristen Bauer, who plays Pam on True Blood. We were talking, and she said the first day she came onto set, she put the teeth on and she got on the thing, and her first line was something like "Thucky Thackhouse." She had to say something like that, and she said literally she got in her pose, she got really like she was like being Pam and really being sexy and whatever, and she looked up and she goes, "Thucky Thackhouse," and she said the 200 crew members literally all burst out laughing, and she was like, "Okay, I think I'm going to be looping." Looping is when you go in and do sound afterwards. So obviously the teeth are a thing.
Mine's here. Mine's more for Charisma. You are responsible for 2 of the most heartbreaking deaths. One being Cordelia, and the other one is Kira on Charmed. I think that how close she gets to a happy ending and then she dies is literally devastating for me. So I just wanted to know a bit about your experience on Charmed as well.
So Charm came about because I did a Lifetime or a Hallmark thing with Holly Marie Combs. And it was called See Jane Date. And I just gave birth to my son 6 weeks before that. And I'm on the set. I'm in every single scene. I'm nursing every 3 hours or pumping. And then I had one of the PAs were running lines with me in the trailer. It was a very impactful thing. But it was the first time in my life that I knew I could do anything. Like, if I could do this and be learning and then go to set and just powered by coffee, anything. So Holly was witness to all of this, and she and I started talking, and she ended up having, when she saw that I could do it, she wanted to have kids. So then when the time came and I wasn't on Angel anymore, there was an opening for this role, and she pitched me as a producer on Charmed to be Kira. And of course, it was another opportunity to hang out with her and be with her, because we're both on these different shows. We're working insane hours, and it just seems like even to this day, we only get to see each other at cons or at work. Or just kind of work, but not really, because this is so fun. So I'm on set. I'm doing Kira thanks to Holly. And that day, I go to be vanquished by Omar Aded, who is in Mummy. And just gorgeous, by the way, sidebar. And he's menacing, and he goes to vanquish me, and I have to pretend like I'm dying, and I turn into a bunch of flies or bits. And it was, I don't know if you've ever felt like this. I don't know if you ever get self-conscious when you're acting, but there were 200 people around, as we've declared many times, the crew is very large. And I'm like, like dying, and like all the different screeching and sounding and whatever. And I just felt so self-conscious. It was just so embarrassing. And I'm at the end of it, and Omar came up to me and he was like, great job. And I was like, really? Was it really good? Because I don't know. It was not sad. I thought, I hear what you're saying about it being a sad moment for Kira because she was so close to having her happiness. She just wanted to be human. I just want to be human. That was her thing. But it was a lot of fun working with Alyssa and the girls. And I thought that the dying part was more embarrassing than sad. I was just so self-conscious at that time. But I had the best time with the girls, running around, hiding behind Brian Krause. And then, Holly with her sardonic humor. It was just an amazing time. And we're very friendly still. So I hope that clears that up for you.
Yes,
and you're
great
welcome.
questions, everybody. And I wish we had more time, but we're going to let them get back to the autograph and photo area. Excuse me. Any final words for your legions of fans here in Newcastle, guys?
You guys rock. Yeah.
Just thank you.
Yeah, you guys are amazing.
Yes, Newcastle, give it up one more time
Love
for
you.
Charisma, Juliet, and James, the cast of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.